No matter if you use Google Hangouts, Slack, or Facebook Workplace, or for that matter, any other type of work chat with your colleagues, you might have been feeling pretty overwhelmed over the last 1.5 years because more and more people are now on chat because they are chatting with their colleagues while working from home. And that brings a lot of challenges. So in today's video, I want to talk with you a little bit about how you can optimize your work chat at work. So let's get started. Hi, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Arndt, and I'm a peak performance coach and stress management trainer. And I'm really excited to talk with you today about this topic because I've heard from many people that they're currently struggling with workplace chats. Because we are constantly on, we feel like we are never disconnecting, we are always available, and it's really hard to set boundaries. So I really do hope that in today's video, I can share a couple of different tips with you on what you can do in order to optimize your work chat, and with that, obviously also optimize your life. And before we jump into the 5 different steps that I want to share with you today, I want to share a research study with you. What is really interesting is that there's a lot of new research coming out about work chats and its effectiveness or its, effect maybe on our day-to-day lives. So based on the newest Microsoft Research Index that was conducted early 2021, the average team user is sending 45% more chats per week and 42% more chats per person after hours, with chats per week still on the rise, which means it's still going up, right? 45%, that's a really high number, and 42% after hours. Oh my gosh, like we really need to talk more about how to optimize work chats. And here's the next thing. 50% of people respond to team chats within 5 minutes or less. And here's the thing. I believe that people respond to chat so quickly, especially now working from home, because it's almost like we are being evaluated by our effectiveness and productivity on how quickly we are responding to team chats, right? We think that, that person doesn't see me anymore, and maybe they believe that I'm not as productive, or maybe I'm doing other things while working from home. So I'm always available. I'm always responding, right? And that's a really bad habit, right? It's just something that we have created over the last 1.5 years that I think we should revisit. So that's why I recorded this video for you today. And I would say, let's jump into a couple of different steps on what you can do in order to optimize your work chat. The first thing you should be thinking about when you want to optimize your work chat is to create rules for yourself that you want to stick to, right? It's kind of like goals or like commitments, because if you don't have them, it's going to be really difficult to stick to anything, right? Because you're just too lenient and you have not really clear rules for yourself or for others on how and when you are available. So first, you need to be clear on your rules. That means, when would you actually like to be available on chat? Is it just during your working hours from 9 to 5? Or is it just for a specific office hour where you would like to be available? So let's say, for example, 2 hours per day you are available for your colleagues on chat. And do you even maybe want to set a rule around the weekends? Do you want to say, for example, that during the weekends, even though you're working with global teams, you do not want to check your chat because it distracts you, it brings you back into the work setting with your thoughts, and you can't really disconnect and recharge when you are constantly on, right? So first of all, be clear on what you want to get started in order to be more specific with your own rules around your work chat. The second step then is to set up a system to follow these rules, right? Because first of all, of course, you need to be clear on what you want to do. And then second of all, you need to think about, okay, what is it that how do I incorporate these rules into my day-to-day? For example, you could remove or turn off notifications from your phone or from your desktop. You can even sign out of your chat during the specific hours where you do not want to be available. And you can also remove the app from your phone if you have to be really strict with yourself and you feel comfortable doing that. I think it has become kind of a bad practice that we are always constantly available and that we're obviously carrying everything on our phones. You might not even have a phone that distinguishes between personal and business. You might have everything on one phone, and so it might be even more difficult to not check notifications. So if that is the case, make sure that you're either turning off notifications or that you're completely removing the app if you find it super distracting and disrupting your work-life balance while you are off work. So that is the second thing. Be really clear on how you can integrate those rules into your day-to-day. And then the third thing that is actually super important when we're talking about optimizing your work chat is that you need to communicate it, right? Because people are now learning a new mode on how to operate with you. And they need to know how to work with you, right? At the beginning, you might feel super uncomfortable to be offline, for example, right? Maybe you're working on a project and you have a 3-hour block on your calendar where you want to not be disturbed, so you're turning your chat off. But at the same time, you might feel like you're not available for your colleagues, which is obviously not always a great feeling. But when you start communicating about your new ways of how you're operating and when and how people can reach you, it's going to be easier for you, okay? So communicate when you are available. And I always believe as well that it is really powerful to communicate with vulnerability. So share with people why you are starting this new way of how to use your chat, because you are working on a better work-life balance, for example. You're working on taking better care of yourself. You're working on practicing self-care. You're working on setting better boundaries at work, right? All of these different things could be small snippets that you're using in communicating with people that you are now only available during certain times on work chat. So communicate it, create templates. You can use these templates either when people reach out to you. You can use them as an email template, as an out-of-office notification, as an email footer, all of these different kinds of things, right? There are so many different ways of what you can do in order to set better boundaries and communicate them with other people. And you know, the most powerful thing is that a lot of people, when I actually hold a similar training, which is called Setting Boundaries for my corporate clients, oftentimes people tell me, oh wow, I wish somebody would communicate this to me, because then it almost allows me as well to take that space and to start creating boundaries for myself. But we always feel like because nobody else is doing it, we shouldn't do it either, right? And so nobody is doing it and everybody's kind of suffering. And again, when we're looking at these numbers and these data points from Microsoft, it's really apparent that, you know, that definitely messes with our work-life balance if we are constantly thinking that we need to be available on work chat. So do yourself a favor and start being a little bit more clear on when you want to be available and how people can operate and work with you. So now that you have established your new rules around your work chat, you have implemented them in certain ways with a new system, and you have communicated them, then there's 2 more things that I want to share with you today that are equally as important to mention. First of all, especially at the beginning, be ruthless about saying no and stick to your own rules. So hopefully by creating these rules, you are creating a little bit of commitment and accountability for yourself to stick to those rules, obviously, but to also send a very clear signal to your colleagues on when you are available. Especially at the start, it might feel a little bit difficult and you might feel a little bit uncomfortable. So it is really important that especially at the beginning, you stick to your own rules, because your colleagues are learning a new way on how to operate with you. And if you bend your own rules right from the start, even though you have communicated to them clearly on how you are available, for example, then again, your colleagues learn, oh, she is still available. She is still answering her chat on a Sunday evening at 11 p.m. Or he is still answering my pings at 6 a.m. in the morning. Those are all not really great ways, right, that we want to operate with people. And if you're working with global teams, just create rules. It's not like you're never available. You know, you could, for example, create specific office hours on a Tuesday or a Wednesday for these specific global teams that need to get a hold of you at some point, or ask them to send you emails, right? I feel like everyone obviously always feels like their work is super, super urgent. And so they're pinging chat, they're sending chats because they feel like, oh, okay, I'm going to get an answer quicker and I can move on faster, which obviously makes sense. But if we are all operating this way, I don't think that we would all get a ton of things done and we would be as productive and as effective as we would like to be. So remind yourself of that, and remind yourself as well that at the end of the day, you can only create your own work-life balance and you can create your own rules. And even though you might be feeling guilty that, people in other time zones are, for example, available all the time, that is their choice. And that brings me to the last point that I want to share with you today. Don't feel guilty about other colleagues. But if you think now, well, yes, but these other people are always available. I totally get it, right? We are seeing these people that are workaholics maybe, or that just love their work, or whatever excuse you want to use to say that people are working all the time. It is your life and you need to make your own decisions and you need to create your own rules and you need to find out what works for you. And if you have been feeling super overworked, overwhelmed, you feel like you can never disconnect from work because you feel like you're constantly available. You're on at 11 p.m. on a Sunday, you're on at 6 a.m. on a Tuesday morning when you're making your coffee, the chat is the first thing you do and you see, then it's okay to create these boundaries. It's okay to say, hey, listen, this is not working for me anymore and I need to create some more space for myself in order to take care of myself, okay? So super, super important that you disregard a little bit what other people think and what other people do. Because at the end of the day, I also believe that this is how we create culture. Culture comes from within, and sometimes we need to step up and we need to be the person that starts maybe a movement, right? A new workplace chat movement. How are you available? When are you available? This is super, super important and it's really powerful. Like I mentioned before, there are so many people in my trainings that tell me, I wish somebody would create these clear rules because it would enable me and give me kind of permission to do the same thing. We oftentimes wait for someone to lead. So be that person, be the person that leads, be the person that sets a good example and that shows to the world, hey, listen, even though I'm not 24/7 available all the freaking time, I'm still doing an amazing, phenomenal job. And I might even do a better job than those people that are constantly available. Because let's be honest, if you are answering a chat at 6 a.m. in the morning, is the answer that you're providing really, really powerful and really productive and really clear, right? Maybe it is, maybe it's not. So super important to think about these things. And if you feel like you need to communicate more with your team, I think it would even be helpful to mention your new way of operating ways to your team in a team meeting, right? Communicate. Or what you could also do, I love this actually, by the way, so I'm going to highlight this. One thing that I like to do as well is to track who is actually reaching out to you on chat all the time. Is it always the same person? Is it always different people? If it is always the same person or a group of the same people, then communicate to them on how you're going to be available to them, It is so easy when we're thinking about these different ways. And, I really want to empower you to take these steps to create a more powerful, sustainable lifestyle for yourself. So I really hope that I shared some good insights with you today in order to improve and optimize your chat at work, because I know that many of you are struggling with this at the moment. So as the last step of this video, I want you to think about, okay, what did I actually learn in today's video and what am I going to take away and implement? Because here's the thing. Many of you are watching these videos and then you walk away and you feel more educated, but you don't really change anything. And if you don't change anything, nothing will change. So you need to take action. Action is super important. I try to highlight this in my videos all the time, because if you don't take action, nothing in your life will change and you might stay the frustrated person that you are today, or you might stay the overwhelmed person or the person that never disconnects from work and maybe burns out at some point because of a result of that. And we don't really want that, right? So take a moment, think about what am I going to take away from today's video and what am I going to try out? A small thing. It just has to be one little thing. Maybe it is one little rule that you start setting for yourself and that you're testing out starting tomorrow. All right, my friends, that's all I wanted to share with you today. I hope that you found this video helpful. Give me a thumbs up if you did. It would be really, really helpful for me, and I would really appreciate it as well if you leave me a comment down below. I always love to hear from you. If you have any other ideas on how to optimize your work chart, let me know in the comments below. And if there's any other tools or any other topics that you want me to talk about, let me know as well. I love to record these videos for you. That's why I'm here. And that's all I wanted to share with you today. So have a nice day, and I see you hopefully in the next video.